Hey everyone, Heather Waits here with Profitable Weddings, and this morning I'm in my flower shop getting an early start on the day. So I wanted to share a story with you that just happened to me. And it really got me thinking, so I wanted to share this with you right away. Last week I was out for I was out for the entire week. Jason had a kidney stone, and not just any kidney stone, a kidney stone that would not pass for an entire week. He was in and out of the hospital a couple of times in immense pain. Luckily, Saturday night, he did pass the thing. So yay, we're excited about that. Luckily for me, I have an amazing staff. They took a hold of the reins. They said, don't worry, we got this. You take care of Jason, make sure he's okay, and we'll take care of the shop. I don't even think they called me, but maybe once and a couple of texts to ask a few questions about a couple weddings. We had our biggest wedding weekend also of the year last weekend. We had 7 weddings and the biggest volume weekend as well. So kudos to my staff. I cannot be more grateful to be working with such amazing people. But that really got me thinking then about the soulpreneurs, the one-man shows, the husband and wife teams, those that do not have a staff like I do. And it kind of hit me at that point, what do you guys do? So I have a question for you. If something were to happen to you or to a loved one, and you couldn't follow through with a wedding, or you couldn't do the work necessary for your company, what then? So what I did was I created 4 tips for creating an emergency backup plan for your business. This is something that I don't think most wedding professionals have thought of. So I wanted to bring this up at the beginning of wedding season, especially since it just happened to me. So that way you can work on your backup plan and make sure that your company is taken care of. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Number 1, think about it first of all. Think about worst case scenario and what that means for you and your clients. And then start writing down ideas. Write a plan. My suggestion is to know the freelancers in your area that you can call on that in a moment's notice can be there to help you out. It's also even worth it to form a few alliances with other wedding professionals in the same field as you. So if you're a photographer, have other friends that are photographers who can come and help bail you out. There's a couple florists here in Columbus that I know if I had called them and said, hey, Jason's in the hospital, I need help, they would have dropped what they were doing and rushed over here to Bloomtastic to help us out. So know who your freelancers are and form some alliances with other like wedding pros, so that way you have someone you can call, or even a couple people you can call on a moment's notice. I also suggest investing in liability insurance if you do not have this. A lot of home-based wedding professionals do not see the need for liability insurance because you don't have this. You don't have the overhead and so forth as a brick and mortar store. However, this is a huge, huge mistake. I highly recommend a $2 million liability plan. For one thing, if the inevitable ever happened, you're going to be very thankful that that plan was there. If you get sued and the bride is wanting her money back and you don't have the money to give back, or the coolers freeze up and freeze the flowers, whatever, you're going to be very thankful that you have that insurance policy. So I highly recommend getting a hold of a reputable insurance company in your area and getting liability insurance. Number 3, have an employee succession plan. And what I mean by this is if you do have employees, great, that's awesome, kudos to you. But you need to have a plan of who's in charge. So if you're not there or not able to be there, who's next in line to answer all the questions? Who's next in line to step up to plate and make sure everything is executed properly? So create that succession plan of who is next in line to take over for you in the event that you can't be there. This person also then needs to be able to have access to all your vendors and all of your professional help. So in other words, if you're a florist like me and you've got coolers, you need to have a record of who your HVAC person is, so that way they can call that person if a cooler goes down. You might even want to put them as a backup on your electric, on your gas, things like that, because heaven forbid, if something happens and you're not able to make that phone call to the electric company, this person then can step up and do it. This is called an operations manual in our shop. What we did is combine a big list of everybody's phone numbers, the wholesalers' phone numbers, all of our vendors that we work with, from the gas company to the electric company to the HVAC, just everybody, literally everybody that we work with. There's a name and a phone number on this sheet. So I highly recommend having an operations guide that's easily accessible. And lastly, number 4, this is most important no matter what. Keep notes in the bride's file as if you're not going to be there. And you might be going, huh, what? So when you're writing the proposal, when you're writing the contract, when you're just typing out normal regular notes in their file, write them clearly and highly detailed. So that way, in the event that you are not present for that bride's wedding, somebody else can step in, read it, know exactly what you mean, and take over. Completely seamless transaction. The bride would never even know that there was an emergency issue on the back end. So make sure, again, the proposals, contracts, any work orders, notes, anything like that, make sure that that information is clearly written and very detailed, so that way the person who's going to step in for you, whether it's another wedding vendor or an employee, can pick right up where you left off. So there you have it. There are my 4 tips for creating an emergency backup plan, so that way your business can continue to run without you. The bride still has a magical day and nobody ever knows the difference. Hopefully an emergency, a medical emergency, never happens to you, but in the event that it does, you need to be prepared. So this is Heather Waits with Profitable Weddings, and here is to your health, happiness, and a profitable business.